Welcome, my baby squids! It's that time of year once again. We got a whole new crop of eager prospective riders out here scouring the internet, amassing information in preparation for their first riding season come spring. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your Papa Yam is here for you. I got this little gem of a list ready to drop smack dab into your algorithm because I know what you need to hear to keep you safe on your first motorcycle ride. Let's get into it. The first thing I'd like to mention when it comes to your first motorcycle ride and just riding in general is the importance of mental focus and a good attitude. Motorcycling, especially as a beginner, requires you to juggle many different tasks. You must independently control 4 different parts of the bike with each of your limbs. Your left hand uses the clutch, your right hand the throttle, your feet controls the shift lever and the rear brake. On top of managing the controls, you must pay attention to your speed, your steering inputs, your body position, and the intimate connection between you and the bike. On top of that, you have to be aware of the road conditions, anticipating corners, managing your speed, and scanning for hazards. Plus, you have to ride defensively with the mantra, ride like you're invisible, which means ride as if no cars are able to see you. To manage the skills required to operate a motorcycle while riding defensively on the street requires a lot of focus. And in addition to that, as a new rider, you're also going to have patience. You need to have it. Approach your first ride with humility, knowing that you don't know a lot about riding yet, no matter how many videos you've devoured online. And lastly, just have a good attitude. A cool demeanor will make everything easier, whether that is in regards to limiting frustration in your own ability or annoyance with other drivers. Being focused, calm, patient, and positive really is the easiest way to prepare yourself for your first motorcycle ride. Now, a lot of new riders can be strapped for cash. You're young, you've been saving up for a couple years, you finally decided to cash in all the money you've acquired in your swear jar after many heated Fortnite battles. As a result of your limited budget, you might end up with a somewhat questionable first motorcycle. Maybe you fell for the ran when parked scam on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe you overinflated your mechanical knowledge and bought a fixer-upper as a first bike. But I hate to burst your bubble, probably wasn't the best idea. One of the first things you're going to want to do before you take your first motorcycle ride is ensure your bike is actually in sound mechanical order. The last thing you want to happen on your very first ride is to lose all brake pressure, have your engine seize or your chain snap, or have a dry rotted tire blow out. Whenever possible, buying a used beginner bike that is less than 5 years old and has been well maintained is really going to set you up for success as a new rider. Despite this being relatively common knowledge in the riding community, every year you see new riders start out on clapped out 20-year-old bikes because they're trying to spend as little money as possible. When in the long run, buying a super cheap used bike in poor condition may end up costing you more in time, safety, and even money depending on what it will require to get it safe and functional again. To ensure your new bike is safe enough for your first ride, you want to inspect the functionality of all major mechanical components. Your tires should have ample tread life and be inflated to the proper PSI. Your brakes should have good lever feel and bite, and they shouldn't feel squishy or lacking pressure. Your chain should be clean, lubricated, and adjusted to the proper tension. Your fueling system should be clean and allow for smooth and deliberate acceleration. You don't want to pull out onto the main road for the first time just to have your bike bogged down because your injectors or fuel filter are clogged with old cruddy gas and debris. Starting your journey as a new motorcyclist on a janky old used bike with mechanical problems is going to serve as a major disadvantage when actually learning how to ride. So try to land yourself a sweet deal on a reasonably recent year Japanese beginner bike and you'll have one less thing to worry about as you start riding. I think each year new riders are becoming smarter, even though we see crazy stuff online of clout chasers, doing bad things on bikes, but the amount of information and resources for new motorcyclists is the greatest it's ever been. But that doesn't mean we don't need to reiterate the importance of getting your motorcycle endorsement the right way and taking the beginner rider course from the Motorcycle Safety Foundation. I've recently come across some videos online of new riders riding very powerful motorcycles without having completed the MSF course and earning an endorsement on their license. And let me tell you, these videos are terrifying to watch. The MSF course, while not being the be-all end-all for motorcycle training, is a great first step to build your foundation of basic motorcycle operation. It's a great opportunity to get on a bike for the first time in controlled environments with experienced rider coaches that can help you develop good habits you need to commit to memory to be a safe and confident rider. Riding a motorcycle in a parking lot under the watchful gaze of an instructor is not a direct parallel for riding a bike on the street for the first time, but it is a necessary first step to grant you a rudimentary understanding of fundamental riding skills. You'll learn about slow speed maneuvers using the friction zone, cornering basics, emergency braking, and obstacle avoidance, to name a few. Your education as a new rider will not stop when you leave the MSF. More than likely, you'll learn a lot more from riding on the street for the first few months, but taking the MSF course is the easiest and most straightforward way to give yourself a leg up as a new rider. Starting in a somewhat controlled environment is always a smart decision for your first ride. Begin your riding in a parking lot and slower speed roads that are not heavily trafficked. These areas will allow you to familiarize yourself with your bike and help you build the muscle memory and reflexes necessary to safely operate your machine at higher speeds where there are other vehicles present. Practicing in a parking lot obviously presents the lowest risk for your first ride. You'll have the opportunity to further hone your slow speed maneuvers. Slow speed riding is critical for a strong foundation of skills as a rider because slow speed maneuvers require finesse and deliberate control. Riding a motorcycle at speed in a straight line is pretty easy. The gyroscopic forces of a motorcycle mean that it wants to stay upright while in motion. And at slow speeds, the responsibility of balance and control falls on the rider. Throttle and brake inputs and body positioning are essential to keep a motorcycle shiny side up when moving at slow speeds. When you understand the relationship between your inputs at slow speeds, it will translate to higher speed riding, where the stakes are much higher. Riding on neighborhood streets provide a lot of advantages for a new rider on their first ride as well. Firstly, the speeds are slow, so the risk is diminished. That's pretty obvious. If you're moving slower, your reaction time doesn't have to be as quick, and the consequences, should something go awry, will be less severe. These roads are also less heavily trafficked by other vehicles, and again, riding in a neighborhood will force you to manage those low speed skills. You'll have to repeatedly approach stop signs where you focus on applying the brake, using the clutch and downshifting, and you have to accelerate back up to speed and move from 0 miles per hour, move through those gears, and you'll do slower, lower speed turning. It will reiterate clutch control and balance in a low-risk situation where stalling the bike won't have very serious consequences. You won't want your first ride to be on a big 4-lane strode where stalling the bike at a stoplight could mean you have a couple dozen crossover SUVs on your tail threatening to overtake you or just straight up run you over.
Triumph calls this color Cosmic Yellow on the Street Triple 765 RS, and I'd like to think it's cosmic because when you find out that you've won this motorcycle on Yamanube.co, you're going to ascend to the heavens and be in a heaven-like cosmic state of existence as this thing wheels itself into your driveway because you won it on Yamanube.co. Become a member on the website. Get your chances locked and loaded. You'll join our Discord, get access to the newsletter. If that doesn't sound appealing, pick up a hat, a t-shirt, a hoodie. We sell all kinds of great stuff on the website. Every dollar you spend will not only support the show, but will also get you entered to win, subject to an amazing multiplier. Get entered to win this bike. Don't sleep on it.
And on your first motorcycle ride, it's important to learn the dangers of corners and intersections. These are two places on the road where a majority of motorcycle accidents occur. Most motorcycle accidents that take place in corners are single vehicle accidents, usually as a result of speed. When approaching a corner on your first ride, be highly conscious of your entry speed. You'd much rather go super slow around a corner and look like a noob than take a corner too quickly, fail to initiate proper lean, go wide, flying off the edge of the road. As you become more experienced with riding and are super comfortable with countersteering and leaning, the speed at which you go through corners will naturally increase. But as a new rider, it's important to approach corners with reverence and caution. It's always important to be cognizant of debris on the road and cornering as well. A corner with sand or loose gravel can be more dangerous as they will each dramatically diminish traction if present. And the thing to keep in mind is if you're going nice and slow into corners, you can see the gravel and the sand sooner than you would if you were going faster, and you can avoid it. But intersections are another area in which you want to pay extra special attention as a new motorcyclist. This is a common area where accidents between motorcyclists and other vehicles occur. In an intersection, you have vehicles entering from all different directions, crossing roads, turning, or trying to rush through lights before they turn red. Motorcycles must always ride defensively in a way that assumes they are not seen by other vehicles on the road and be perceptive and predict the actions of those around them. Accepting the personal responsibility for your own safety while on your bike is an important first step to take when starting out with riding. It will hold you accountable for the choices you make on the road to reduce the risk of a single vehicle accident caused by overconfidence or a lack of skill or an incident with another vehicle. When it comes to saving your life while motorcycling, the easiest step to take is to wear high quality, safety rated gear. I know you've probably heard this before, but it really is essential. You can take the proper riding courses, ride a safe and reliable bike, and limit your time spent on busy roads as a new rider. But you never totally know what's gonna happen, and if you're going to crash your bike, having the proper gear on is going to save your life. I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but your chances of minimizing serious injuries during a motorcycle crash are astronomically improved by wearing gear. I think this is so important to be reiterated because, as I mentioned, when we're talking about new riders on janky used bikes, many beginner motorcyclists are looking to save as much money as possible when they get started. Unfortunately, motorcycling isn't what I would consider to be an inexpensive hobby. It can be cheaper, but it's not that cheap to get started with. And the sooner you recognize that and plan accordingly to spend money on a reliable bike and high quality gear, the safer you'll be as you learn to ride. Riding gear like an ECE rated helmet in addition to jacket, gloves, boots, and riding pants will not only protect you in case you crash, they'll hopefully allow you a little bit of peace of mind as well. Because as I mentioned at the very beginning, mental clarity and focus really is the first step when it comes to motorcycling. So if wearing all of your gear helps you feel a little bit more confident when you're going riding, that is an added bonus on top of your physical safety. Also, I am going to go out on a limb and assume that there are some people who care about you, who want to see you return from your ride in one piece as well. Wearing proper gear will go a long way in preventing injuries when riding, and it will give you a little extra confidence and will hopefully instill some trust in your loved ones who may have had reservations about you riding in the first place. And the last tip we have today is to plan ahead. If you're taking your first motorcycle ride, make sure you got good weather and make sure you've got an ideal time of day. You don't want to pull out of your driveway only to realize you got to contend with 5 o'clock rush hour traffic. Have a route in mind that makes you go to lower traffic places and think ahead about the things you want to focus on when you're practicing. Having an idea of where your limitations or shortcomings are following the completion of the MSF course can allow you to focus your time on working towards those skills. And be realistic in your goals and expectations. Don't anticipate you'll be comfortable going 85 on the highway on your very first ride. I think it took me at least 3 or 4 weeks until I was comfortable going at least 80 miles an hour. Have a clear plan of where you want to practice and what you want to practice, and plan on to go at a time that you think will be presented with as few risks as possible. And while you're out there, allow yourself to think critically about how you're riding and what you could be doing differently or better. For most things in life, preparation is key, and motorcycling is no different. Before you go on your first ride, make sure you've checked out all the boxes and have some sort of plan in place. Having an outline of where you're going, where your limitations are, and how you can mitigate any risks or uncertainty is going to go a very long way in having a safe and successful first year on your motorcycle. If you're a new rider or a potential new rider, we have a ton of amazing resources for you to help yourself along the way on your journey. So be sure to go back in the back catalog of Yami Noob and subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you'll continue to find useful information that will help you along the way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Fact: glass sponges can live for 15,000 years. This makes them one of the longest living organisms on Earth. Goodbye.
All right, everybody, this video is over. There's no more to watch on this beautiful video between me and you, but this Triumph Street Triple 765 RS is available on YamiNoob.co as a giveaway bike. Hit that link while you're waiting for the next video to load. Become a member. It'll take you as easy as 1, 2, 3, and then you're signed up to win. How cool is that? Papa Yam's giving away 54 bikes. You could be the next one.